Do you do cardio? I mean, you're naturally pretty lean. I know you eat extremely well.
Yeah.
And we can talk about nutrition a bit as well. But what are your thoughts on cardio?
Cardio is like the right foot to the left foot. Like it's very important for the overall picture of health. If you're avoiding cardio and conditioning entirely, you're not as healthy as you think you are. I don't do as much cardio as I should. It's always my big confession that I don't. And the reason why is simply because I have to choose based on time limitation. And for me, with priorities being to spend some time with my family and my boys and how much can I actually get done with work and my workout time, I always will take a step in the direction of strength training and weight training. But I try not to ignore it entirely. And when I do, I jump on a bike and I do stationary bike riding because I like the fact that I can increase resistance on the pedals and kind of turn it into almost a pseudo, again, the meathead side of me wants to turn it into some sort of a resistance activity. But of course, doing it for the duration to improve my cardiorespiratory health. But it's also good for my knees. My knees are quite beat up. Again, that's something that I'll never be able to reverse, at least not without modern medicine, but I have to manage that. And anytime I try to do anything where I'm running or jumping, it tends to hurt a little bit. I do still love to jump rope. We talked about jump rope before. Jump rope happens to be a lot lower impact for me, as long as you can do it properly on the balls of your foot and absorb the shock of jump roping. But I would say between jump roping and stationary bike at a higher resistance level and done in interval fashion, those are my two favorite ways to do it.
Yeah, jump rope's great. Yeah. I haven't been doing it as much as I used to. And now that I got this new pup, I've got him in his little penned area sometimes, and I'll skip rope. I don't let him run around while I do it because I'm afraid I'm gonna whip him, on accident. I don't want to do that. But I'd forgotten how effective it is at getting heart rate up, especially if you're doing some double unders, you know, speed it up, or high knees and things like that. The coordination piece is awesome. It's one of these things, like, back to the basics feels good.
It's also really there's a gamification aspect. Like you want to learn a new skill. Can I do it single leg? Can I do it side to side? Can I do it double under, as you said? Like there's little built-in challenges that I think we inherently always try to like up the level of what we're doing to see what we can do or what we can't. But that's built in. That's not really built in on a lot of the other modes of conditioning, which is why people who do skip it, because it tends to be unapologetically kind of the most boring part of training. If you're used to doing lots of different exercises and feeling the weight in your hands, it could be a little bit boring, but there's ways to make that more fun.
Do you like running?
I actually like running, but again, I can't tolerate it. My knees are just, they feel like they want to detonate when I take after about a quarter mile. Now I could do it I have a Woodway treadmill, which are incredibly forgiving. It's
which one is it?
Woodway.
Woodway.
Yeah, we used to have them in all the MLB weight rooms. They're basically, there's no deck underneath them, so it's like running on air. And best treadmill, also pretty super expensive, but they're worth the money if people have the ability to invest in one and they want to run indoors.
Are they those arced ones, or are they straight?
They make an arced one, but they're straight, and there's just no deck in there, so it feels a lot lighter and more forgiving on your feet. They actually have some amazing versions of the Woodway that they called the Ultra G, where they actually take the gravity away, so you can run in a gravity-free environment. Yeah, you can which is crazy, because if you think about injury rehab, we've taken players with lower body injuries, put them on the Ultra G, and have them run with only 5% or 10% of their weight. So you can unweight their body, get them into the mechanics of foot on the ground and running and transmitting the force through the whole body, but do it in an environment that takes all of their body weight away, and then progress up to, now you got 10% of your body weight that you're running on and 20% of your body weight that you're running on. So you can actually progress them to not have to go from non-weight bearing to fully weight bearing in a cool athletic way.
Yeah, because swimming's great, but you have to have access to a pool, and I miss swimming. I need to get back to that.
I swam as a kid all the time.
Likewise. Yeah, every kid in my town did soccer and swim team. Those are kind of the big sports. I'm comfy in the water. I live near the ocean now, but unfortunately the ocean hasn't been that clean since the fires. There's a bunch of hazards to ocean swimming that I've seen. One person on our swim got hypothermia once, so I'm like, I don't know. I think that the cardio piece, the big debate seems to be whether or not if people have a limited amount of time, which most people have a limited amount of time, whether they'd be better off investing in some high intensity interval training, or some, so-called zone 2, zone 3 kind of steady state stuff. We know that caloric deficit is required for fat loss, but assuming caloric deficit, is there a best cardio for fat loss?
The one that you're going to do is going to be the best one for sure.
Good answer.
And I think it's hard to sustain some of the higher zone 5 cardios for long enough to have a significant cardio or calorie burn effect. I did a famous video with Jesse where I had him do burpees, which is one of the most calorically demanding exercises you can do, which is, for anybody that doesn't know the burpee, you basically quickly lower yourself down to the ground, you do a full push-up, you push yourself explosively out of that push-up back to it, you jump up to your feet again and back to a standing position. That can burn around, I believe it was 13 to 15 calories per minute if you did them nonstop for a minute. Well, if you're doing burpees nonstop for a minute, you're likely not doing them nonstop for many more minutes than the first minute, because it's a very demanding exercise. So while your heart rate will go soaring right through the roof very quickly, you're going to have, you can apply even intervals to do this, right? You're still going to start to fatigue because of the anaerobic part of it too, through the muscles of the chest and the arms getting fatigued. You just can't really do it for more than, let's say, 10 minutes, even in interval format. So what are you really burning there? If you did it even straight through for 10 minutes, 15 calories a minute, you're talking about 150 calories. So people who use their cardio for weight loss or caloric deficit are going to do better doing longer distance cardio at lower intensity levels. So getting on a bike and riding, or getting jogging or running, or even doing laps in interval fashion where it's a jog and a run and a jog and a run. There's a lot of different ways to do that, but to sustain them for a lot longer periods, 45 minutes to an hour. But there again, I'm a big believer that when you're trying to create the deficit, relying on the conditioning, we're not talking about cardiovascular here, we're talking about just creating the deficit, relying on the conditioning is a much more inefficient way to go about this than what's actually should be done, which is just to focus on your nutrition. Because it's just so much more effective to create large deficits or large swaths of deficits from cutting back the crap you're eating right now than it is to try to get it through zone 2 cardio done for very long periods of time. Again, not to say that that's not beneficial for your cardio and your cardiac conditioning. It's a separate issue. But when you're trying to create caloric deficits there, I always tell people first, you got to work on what you're putting in your mouth, because the old saying goes, you can't outrun a bad diet. And there's just no way to really do that effectively over time. So of the two forms, I'd say the zone 2 steady state longer form is going to do more absolute levels of caloric burn.
I don't know if you've ever done this, but I know you're you, and everybody has to pay attention to their caloric needs and nutrition needs. But what does nutrition look like for you in a given day?